So then, yeah, I'll just show you what you can do to improve them. This here is the original side, no weathering on it at all. As you can see, it's got the usual grey back paint, and then with the white stripes and white writing and stuff. And just with a little bit of work, I can change it to this. Now, the camera doesn't do it any justice at all. I'm pretty sure I have to say with most people, but if I just turn around, if you look, you can see, well, you can see the grey, and it's a very dull grey there, and the underside is a lot more red rust. So a big improvement on that there with weathering. So I will do this side now, so you can see how I do it. I've already done the back end, which is quite heavily weathered, as it's sort of like the front when it was going along, and this end here, it's about the same sort of weathering again. So I'm just going to do this side, and then yeah, I'll just move the camera first of all. Okay then, so basically the way I do it to get something like this is I start off with the lighter colours, you know, the more prominent, like the rust colour and the mud colour. And then what I do is I highlight areas with the lighter grime colour. Now with this particular model, I'm not going to be using any, any of this black one for sort of soot and coal dust and stuff. Mainly because this wagon here is usually at the back of the train, so you don't ever sort of get that sort of dirt and stuff on it. As well as that, because it's a grey wagon, it doesn't show up very well. And it really doesn't make any real difference to it. So I'm trying to open the bag. All I do is dip it in, and then I actually remove the excess just by tapping it, because you don't need a huge amount. Go onto the wagon. Now I start off at the bottom and work at the top, and I want it heavier down here. So I'm only really working on the bogie at the moment. And then just blow away the excess. And unfortunately, you do go through a lot of these, because when the ends start to fluff up, you can't use them properly anymore because they sort of get caught. And you just keep going, building this up with layers, like so, until you get a good covering. Right. So yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm putting it on with one end and I'm brushing it off with the other end, and then blowing it a bit to remove the excess, and then I'll work around the whole of this, and then I'll come back to it in a second. Right then, I finished off the first coat with the rust colour, which is mostly on the bottom. I didn't try and do too much on top because obviously this is wood on the top, but what I did do is give it a very, very fine coating over all the metal handrails and wherever there's rivets and stuff, and then I used the brown colour, which is a bit of a rusty sort of brown colour, to highlight all the edges. So as you can hopefully see, maybe it's a bit clear on the other side, no, not really, the camera unfortunately doesn't pick it up too well, but all along these edges here there's a bit more weathering sort of where the joins are, as that's sort of where they would the wood would get most damage from the elements and rain and all that sort of thing. So there's a little bit more there. Now the final coat is, because if you have a look on the other side, there's just a little bit more sort of weathering to do with the rust stuff, which I'll do in a minute, but I finally got to use this stuff here. Now with this stuff here, I've just got to highlight areas. For instance, highlight the steps, going to be where there, the are along the bottom. I'm not quite sure. I suppose it's the step along the bottom as well needs highlighting, as well as that little areas inside the white is actually metal in there. So I'll be using this stuff here just to highlight areas around there as well. So I'm going to move on with that, and then I'll show you the finished in a sec. So that is the final layer. The final thing I do is I just pick up a spare or a clean bud thing, and I just lightly run over some areas that look a bit too unnatural, is the best way I can say it, and just lightly rub it. So if it's too shiny or something, like there for instance is a bit too much, just there. And that's about it. Right, and there we go. So, as you can see, I think it looks really good now. Once again, the camera doesn't do it justice. It looks so much better in real life. But, track's not quite long enough, but oh well. As you can see, that there now looks like, sorry, I managed to get caught. That there looks so much better than it originally did. The colourings on it and everything. I've just noticed in the camera that it looks, well, these here, they look almost green in the camera. They're not. It's just the way the light's just picking it up off the camera. They actually look really good. Sorry, just need a little bit of a wipe down inside the first three. I might have to add a bit more of that rust colour to it, just in those first three. But yeah, that is pretty much finished. Now I've weathered 1, 2. They are more of like a dusty sort of weathering, rather than like a muddy weathering. So hopefully that'll give you a hint to what time of year my layout is going to be set in. But that there is how you can weather quite simply without paints, without sprays, without anything apart from 4 colours and a load of cotton wool buds. There is another packet of these here which are green colours, so if you want something to look like it's got moss on it and so on, then there is a green packet which you can use and buy, and then if you wanted to look like a bit more deserted, you could add lots of green bits to it, like moss and things like that. And you've also got a colour which looks like a mixture of rust when it sort of runs a bit. There's a really nice colour there. It's a bit more yellowy than this rust here, and it looks quite good. So that's just other colour packets you can get, but I think that looks quite good, that combination. Now I've done one other wagon. Over time I'm going to be able to do the rest of them. The next one I'll be working on is this diesel shunter. Now I'm not too sure what these are meant to look like, because obviously this is not really a mainline loco. So I'm going to have to go and find some photos of them on the computer, see what they look like, and then have a quick go just going over this one. Now, because of the era I'm setting my layout in, this one here would be quite new, whereas this one here would be quite old, so it's going to be a lot less weathering on this one. There's going to be more on that one. Most of the weathering on this one here is going to be kept down basically to the bogies, the steps going up at the back and along the front here, but I'll show you during an update when they've finished, when it's finished, and hopefully you'll agree that it looks quite good and so on. There is one last thing to say. I know I mentioned that you use cotton buds. Well, and I'd mentioned that quite often they get damaged and you have to replace them. To do that one wagon, I had to go through about 20 odd cotton buds, just because the ends get so sort of quite badly damaged that you're unable to brush properly. So that is the only one downside to buying these, but saying that, I got 200 for 99p, or something like that, so absolutely loads, really cheap. I know I get them from cheap as well, and so it really doesn't matter. But anyway, that there is how to weather wagons. That's one loco done, that's one wagon done, another wagon somewhere else upstairs still, but yeah, I'm going to move on the rest of them. So thanks for watching.